your backup plan tribe. Welcome to this week's podcast. If you are new here, my name is Tina Ginn, and I am an emergency preparedness coach, a financial expert, a best-selling author, and an app developer of Your Backup Plan app. And I'm located here in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. You can expect product reviews and workshops, tutorials, tips and tricks from our wonderful guests. And you can expect interviews on my channel every single week with real life people and their real life stories. So if you're new here, go ahead and click on the subscribe button, tap the bell somewhere down there, and don't miss any of our live and uploaded videos. So I am so excited about this interview this week with Martin Jongejan, and he has Zoom home cleaning experts. That is a mouthful, Martin. That's a mouthful. And I am so excited to talk to Martin this week about his motorcycle accident, which was quite a few years ago. But I think there's a little bit of still, you can't forget what you went through. And I'm so welcome, Martin, to our podcast this week.
Thanks, Tina. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's awesome. And, I'd love for you to tell your story about what happened with your car accident. And we'll call it a motorcycle accident. But you see motorcyclists out there all the time. And I always wonder, have they got their shit prepared? Have they got a plan in place? Do they know that that's such a risk out in our roads that we have now? It's not like no one's on the road anymore, right? So if you can take off on a motorcycle off into the hills somewhere where there's no vehicles, it's not so bad. But can you tell us a little bit to our listeners today?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I've been a motorcyclist since I was 15 years old, or 16, I'm sorry, is when I actually bought my first. So I'm somewhat of an experienced rider, but, to your point about being prepared, you can be as well-skilled and as practiced as you want, but as happened in my case, it's the other driver that you have to worry about. You can be the best rider on the road, but you can't control what the other guy does, and that's what got me into trouble. So
absolutely. I did some life insurance a few years back for a couple, and he was a motorcycle rider as well, but unfortunately he had a major brain injury, just was sitting at a light at an intersection, and then when the light turned green and it was safe, he went forward, but his bike went fast forward. He flipped over the bike and landed on his head.
Wow.
And I mean, that isn't even a really good story. No?
Yeah, that's pretty.
I'm sure it's not like yours.
Well, mine isn't a whole lot different, actually. I was just kind of minding my own business. I was heading from Langley into New West and approaching the old the old bridge there, and I don't remember the accident, to be honest. I remember waving goodbye to my wife at the time and saying "see you later," and waking up several days later in Royal Columbian Hospital. I'm told what happened is I was hit from behind by a truck that was changing lanes. So I didn't see it coming. Was just minding my own business, and that's the way it played out. I was very fortunate in that there was an off-duty police officer, fireman, and a nurse on our way to work that were able to attend to me right away until the paramedics arrived, and got me to hospital. So, but the accident itself is completely gone from my memory. I also had a significant brain injury as a result of that. That still kind of haunts me a little bit to this day, but it could have been a whole lot worse. I could not be here at all.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful. And, as I'll sort of get into in a little bit here, it marked a significant change in the path that my life took which in retrospect, I'm enormously grateful for. I had the opportunity to sit across from the table of the driver who struck me, and he was very apologetic, genuinely remorseful, decent person, wasn't being an idiot. You know, it was just a brief lack of judgment on his side, and you know, I shook his hand and told him that, you know, all is forgiven, and you know, we move on.
Move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Did they speculate anything during your injury when you woke up? Did they say, you know, that you're going to be not doing well or in recovery for a while, or?
The brain injury didn't manifest for a few weeks. I actually, it turns out I had a small bleed, and I had a number of other physical injuries. I had a crushed eye socket, I had a pneumothorax, which is a collapsed lung, a couple broken ribs. Got off remarkably lightly, Tina, because typically what happens when you're in an accident of that nature, you usually get propelled over the handlebars, and normally what happens is one or both femurs catch on the bars and you break both legs, and I was spared all of that. So thankfully, but I had a small brain bleed that I was not aware of, and you know, they sent me home, and about a week later, or probably wasn't a week later, a number of weeks later, I was shoveling snow in my driveway, and basically it, you know, it ruptured, and it turned out to be a subdural hematoma. And you know, that laid me up for, you know, another several months, and that took a long time to heal. I was actually walking around for a number of months with an enormous brain bleed, not even being aware of it. Totally affected my my speech. I had a hard time carrying on conversations. I'd kind of start a sentence and then forget a couple of words in what I was trying to say. I couldn't type any longer. You know, I couldn't find the keys on the keyboard. I remember crossing the Patella Bridge once and thinking, okay, I know I want to get my car over to that side of the road, onto that lane, but how do I do that again? I don't know how to get my car there. And what finally got me to go to the hospital was I pulled up in front of my beside my home, and I remember pulling in behind a vehicle, and I could see there's a couple of cars in front of me, and I remember thinking to myself, okay, I can see two cars here, but I can't tell which car is in front of the other car, and that just struck me as utterly bizarre. And that's when you know, I called my doctor and said, hey, I'm having these problems. They took me in for a scan at Abbotsford Hospital. I was driving home, and the doctor called me and said, if you're behind the wheel, pull over right away. You can't drive. You've got an enormous subdural hematoma. The scan revealed that half my brain was, or half my skull was full of blood and pushing the, you know, my brain over to the other side of my head. And, you know, there's no pain or discomfort or anything. It's just these weird little anomalies in everyday life that kind of clued me in. But so that was, you know, then there was subsequent memory loss, and you know, that I've had to deal with as a result of that over the years. But yeah, that's kind of, you know, over the course of my recovery there, I wasn't able to do anything. I wasn't able to return to work. I was a photographer and a graphic designer. I'd been doing that for 25 years, and totally non-functional. You know, couldn't do anything. Couldn't put an email together. It was just a very difficult time. You know, my customers had expectations of me that I couldn't deliver on, and you know, in the ensuing months, I essentially lost everything. Lost my business. Lost my marriage, which was not good at all to begin with. I don't want to suggest that this was the cause, but it was just one more complication. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, lost my home, and you know, eventually a couple of years later, I ended up you know, moving into a rooming home, rented a room, and all my belongings fit in my old beat up brown Bullet. We used to call it the old Ford Taurus I had. So, you know, it was a pretty bleak time. You know, you sort of lose your identity as a as a productive member of society. You know, a certain degree of pride went into my career. I was very happy with, you know,
What you were doing.
proud of what I was doing. Yeah, had done it for a long time, and it was just very difficult to be non-functional and non-contributing. So, you know, fortunately, thankfully, you know, I sort of had the wherewithal to know that wasn't something, you know, it wasn't a place that I wanted to stay. I didn't want to be you know, somebody just living on disability and trying to eke out a living. So I was sort of actively looking for something to do, you know, something productive to do, another business to start. I've always been somewhat entrepreneurial. I don't work well, you know, with a boss. I like having a little bit of agency over my own,
Flexibility.
You know, yeah, flexibility, yeah. And you know, over the course of my reading and investigating other opportunities, I came across the idea of home cleaning, and I thought, well, here I am. You know, I'm a 46-year-old man. I have no money. You know, I've got a car. I've got no real skills that I can market. I'm too old to re-educate myself. Yeah.
Too is not perfect. So you're
right.
I
You're kind
know
of a little
about
bit
me
working.
that you have that when I had a concussion and a brain injury, you don't trust yourself like you
Mhm.
used to. At least I don't.
Right. Yeah. So it was, you know, home cleaning kind of fit the bill. It was something that I could do without costing a whole lot of money, without having to really retrain myself a whole bunch. I mean, how hard could it be to clean a toilet?
Yeah.
And, you know, I had actually read in the course of my research that the previous year, the top 10 fastest growing franchises in all of North America were cleaning companies. So I thought, you know what? Someone's making money in this game. You know, why not me?
Yeah.
So I borrowed money from a woman that I would later marry. I borrowed about $700 and bought a vacuum and a mop and a bucket, and started attending local little breakfast networking meetings in the Langley area, and you know, hung my shingle and started looking for customers to clean for. So you know, I'd show up at a customer's home in a shirt and tie to do a walkthrough with my little notepad, and then give them a quote. And if they accepted, I'd come back, you know, the next day in a t-shirt and shorts and scrub their house for them. So that's how it all started. And you know, a few months in, I hired my first person, and that was like the light went on. Like, you know, wait a minute, I've got another person that's working for me, and I'm generating revenue through their effort, right?
Not your own.
Not just my own. And you know, part of one of the things that I was looking for in the context of preparedness is I recognized the vulnerability of my previous enterprise. You know, it was entirely up to me. If I wasn't the guy shooting up, you know, or shooting up, if I wasn't the guy shooting pictures, showing up and shooting pictures, then there was no revenue generated. And when I was flat on my back, I was out of income because I couldn't be there to produce. So I wanted an opportunity to develop something, to build something that would withstand my own, that was beyond my own ability to produce, that could continue to generate revenue regardless of what happened to me. And, you know, in the bigger picture, provide for my wife and my kids should something ever happen to me. So that was kind of one of the motivating factors in why I chose this industry. So you know, one employee turned into 6, which turned into a dozen, and at our peak, you know, prior to the pandemic, I think we were at about 26 or 28 ladies. We had 3 or 4 managers at one point, and it's been a remarkable journey. We've won multiple awards. Just recently, we were voted best of the best in our business category in Langley.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is, and it's been a group effort. You know, I've been the gracious recipient of many much input from many people over the course of time. You know, in terms of
Help.
help and how to do things, how to market, how to, structure your business correctly, soundly, how to structure your financials, how to take care of things in that regard. So, it certainly by no means was all me by a long shot. So
you had a team effort there.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that we're very big on here actually is team. So, the cleaning industry doesn't have a great reputation for looking after people. It tends to have very high turnover. One of the things that I determined right from the outset was that I wanted to do that part of the business very, very differently. And so I founded Zoom on the core value of care, and care is our North Star. It's the most important thing that we, it's the thing that we consider when we make any decisions, and that we believe that care starts with the ladies in the room, right? So we put the well-being of our team members even before our customers. Because I don't know if you know who Richard Branson is, multi-billionaire. He believes that his premise is that if you put your employees first, they will go out and make happy customers, and happy customers make for a happy business, and it becomes a win-win scenario. And so that's what we've done. We've taken a page out of his book. Care starts with the ladies in the room, and that enables us to go out and make happy customers. And through the resources that we generate from our customers, we give back through a program that we call Share the Care, where every month we give away a free clean to a local individual or family in need, maybe somebody who's going through a difficult divorce, or a senior who doesn't have a local support network, family going through illness. We did a family a little while ago in the Walnut Grove area of Surrey, where both mom and dad were going through chemotherapy. They had a couple of kids trying to keep their home together. Just an absolute privilege to be able to pour into the lives of people like that, who are really genuinely in need, with no strings attached. Our team members love those assignments because it's purely an opportunity to give. We don't post that all over social media. We don't put signs in their front yard, hey, look what we did. We just go in, we clean, we serve, we leave. And it's a wonderful part of our enterprise, one that I'm really excited about. And none of this would have ever happened if that guy hadn't hit me in a truck, so.
Although, it speaks for more of what you went through, because you know what the feeling's like to not be able to afford that, or and it must be amazing when the girls go in and clean the house, and the gratitude and the
which is why it's which is why we enjoy it so much, right? I mean, we get as much out of it, I think, as they do. So it's very, very rewarding. So, and we're always looking for candidates. It's remarkably hard to find people to serve in that way. People have a lot of pride about their homes. People often don't like to think they need help in keeping their home. So we're always looking for good candidates to serve in that way. So by all means, if you or your listeners know of anyone in need, please do reach out, and we'd be more than happy to serve. So
that's a wonderful opportunity for both you and the people in the local area.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe somebody listening, if they think that somebody needs a little bit of pick-me-up, because I'm sure that's what it does for everybody. Nothing better than coming home and having a clean house.
Absolutely. That's what we sell, right? That feeling when you walk in the door and you smell that clean home. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So going back to your accident, what did you feel like when you woke up in the hospital, Martin? Did you always think, men, I find, are like this, they're Superman? At least they feel like they are. Nothing can hurt them, nothing can bring them down. And so that goes, I guess, to your feelings that you had when you woke up and you're like, okay, now what?
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, that's why I was shoveling snow a couple of weeks after, the accident, because I thought, my ribs feel okay and my face is healing up, and life goes on. But that was just the beginning, and I'm someone who thrives on hope. I am by nature a glass half full kind of person. I always kind of figure, no matter how bad things get for me, there's always people who are in poorer shape and have it worse. So there's always something that I can find to be grateful for, But when the rubber hits the road and you are left with nothing, um, for me, it was a wake up call and very difficult. Yeah. Very sobering. I realized that I had to make a, um, a conscious, intentional decision to do something, or it wasn't going to end well. So.
Right. And it definitely brings out um, the depression.
Mhm.
It's to always get in there somehow. I don't know why that is, but
That's par for the course. I mean, a brain injury of my kind, that is, they tell you that from the outset. This is what you're going to be dealing with. You're going to feel like this, and yeah, that's a difficult one to deal with for sure. Yeah.
what I found difficult, and you might agree with this, is that, you can fix your ribs when they
Yep.
start feeling better. I can fix my legs, I can fix my foot, I can fix my hands, and you can do exercises to work on those things.
Mhm.
Um, but there doesn't seem to be anything that your brain is getting better. Like it's just such a thing you don't see. And so I found that really difficult to know, well, am I getting better or do I feel better?
That's a great point, because it's so subjective, and you can't. It's not like a scar that you can watch heal on your arm. It's totally intangible, and there are good days and there are not so good days, and there are dark days and very bleak days, and there's no rhyme or reason
No.
when those come or when they don't. So for me, it was a matter of making a willful decision to overwhelm those feelings with something positive and hopeful. And for me to build the business that I did was, it was a lifeline, because I knew what I wanted it to be. I figured that if other people could do it, why couldn't I? I've reasoned that you cannot tell me that the big cleaning companies that are out there, the Molly Maids, and you can't tell me that they will be the only successful cleaning businesses that we will ever see. There are going to be others, and why can't that be Zoom? And so that was it was a light, right? It was
Right.
something to consciously move towards, even when I wasn't feeling maybe on top of my game emotionally or mentally. I could take concrete physical steps. I could work on a spreadsheet. I could, clean my gear, or work out my systems, or do something that was productive and, moving forward, even if it was just a small step.
Mhm.
Just something to move my life forward. That was a lifeline that kept me on pace there. So.
It's a positive movement forward and not looking back at what you had and what you didn't have, and but looking forward and saying, okay, this is what I want, this is what I need to do.
Mm-hmm. It's crushing, when you look back, and it just becomes a spiral. I got no money. I'm tens of thousands of dollars in debt. I have no career. I have no spouse, no partner,
You're alone.
alone. I lie in this room by myself. I had basically a room to live in, and you can quite easily just get trapped in the abyss. So taking those small little incremental steps for me was crucial. Yeah. And
And
as you get momentum, it gets easier, right? And it gets
right.
better.
It's just a matter of getting it started.
Exactly.
But during COVID, I can't imagine how difficult the same scenario would be for those that are in accidents like that.
Right, because your opportunities are so much more restricted. Yeah, no, that's very true. I mean, it's impacted our business in a significant manner. So people who are going through a difficult time, I I have a whole lot of respect for that. That's a factor in this equation that I never had to deal with. Not only being injured and without resources, but then having to socially distance and
Not have the hugging that you need during this
exactly
time.
right. All of that is
Yeah,
gone. So
right,
um,
right.
yeah, that's
I
thanks.
can't believe of anything how much I miss a hug.
Right.
But like of anything.
Right. My all my ladies are my ladies. I use that term.
Your team.
My team are they're huggers, right? So it was very difficult for them as well. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that would be. So
Mhm.
what would you say to someone who's in this kind of predicament? What would you give them as a tip to maybe make a difference in somebody that's listening today?
I think making a difference is the key, Tina. The more I worried about myself and my own problems, the worse it got for me. And I'm not suggesting that it suddenly becomes easy, but it's a light of hope. If you can serve other people, if you can ignite a dream, find something that you want to do that is ideally, for me anyway, it was the idea of having a bigger impact of my life being about more than just me. Having that dream to pull you forward. Doing something every day, just a little step to move you towards that, and serving other people. There's a wonderful author, a fellow by the name of Robert Greenleaf, and he wrote it's a paper, it's not really a book, but it's all on the notion of servant leadership and the importance of being a servant, serving other people, and all the benefits that has, and the repercussions, and how that can not only benefit other people but help your own life to bloom. It's something that I've really embraced, and that would probably be my number one encouragement. Take your eyes off yourself. I know that sounds, easy and maybe a little bit cold. I don't want to downplay people's suffering, because it is hard, but the act of serving other people is transformational, and that would be probably my
I
number.
am right there with you on that one. That's why I'm here,
Mhm.
because I want to help heal people. I want to help give ideas to people. And I think once you've been there, done that, it really does do that to you. It makes a difference,
Right.
makes you feel like you have a purpose again.
Mhm.
Because somehow during that, when you wake up in the hospital bed, you don't know where your purpose is anymore.
Right. Yeah. No, that's very true. And without that to pull you forward, it's so easy just to get lost in that negative downward spiral. So
Yes. And I find, I guess, the second thing that I would think of is having people around you that can support you, which you obviously did eventually find, which,
right.
I think we're all grateful for,
Mhm.
for your change. I
Right.
guess you didn't know it at the time, but it was a support right from day one of,
Right. Yeah. And now it's for me, I'm happily married again, so obviously I have that support. But in terms of working that out in my life, I have 24 people who I walk into the room every morning and I see their expectant faces, and they're looking for leadership and support and opportunity and security and
love.
love, exactly. And it's enormously humbling. And it weighs.
It gives something to you, that's for sure. You don't realize how much it does.
Sorry, it weighs heavy.
It does. It does. I'm right there with you. It
It's not something that I take lightly, but it's something that I get to step into every day, and it makes me want to be a better person, a better leader, and I'm enormously grateful for that. So.
absolutely. And I think we all are. I think we all are, because nobody knows your feelings unless
Mhm.
you can describe them. And
Right.
I'm right there with you on that, because it's like you have to hit rock bottom before you can rise up
Mhm.
above the clouds and really feel. It just feels lighter. It feels, I don't even know how to explain it, but when you walk into that room every day, and it just makes your heart warm, it
Right.
makes you feel like your purpose and your passion, and you want to help other people, and you want to, and in fact you help yourself by helping others.
Very true. Yeah. And I think we all want to be something. I think we all want to be part of something that's bigger than ourselves, than just us.
Yeah.
Deep down, there's that longing for connection and a need to know that we matter and we make a difference, and that we're putting a little dent in the universe somehow. I think we all long for that. And, for me, it's been a blessing that I've been able to, have that opportunity. So.
Well, it was obviously the universe had some better plans for you, and look at you now.
I think
Look,
so.
look
Yeah.
at you go.
Well, we're still going. That's for sure. Learning experience. So.
Well, yeah, COVID brings a whole other animal to the picture, I guess,
Yeah.
for
For sure.
every business out there. I'm sure nightclubs never ever thought that
Right. Yeah.
there
Exactly.
would never be a need for a nightclub.
Mhm.
That to me is just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're so blessed. There's so many businesses that are hurting right now, closing down, and we continue to stay strong and thrive. So very, very grateful for that.
Well, must say something for your jobs that you do, the people that you have working for you. And I guess in my lifetime, I always knew that if there was issues with the employees, it was all because of management.
Right. Yeah.
And management can make it hugely effective and prosperity and happy,
Hmm.
or it can be where everybody's arguing and not anybody liking each other, and they're getting the work done but not in a very well serviced way.
Absolutely. It starts at the top, right? That's what they say. So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I I didn't think that we'd go this deep, but we do. Every
Right.
single time I have that knack of doing that somehow.
Yeah.
But thank you, Martin. Is there anything else that you would like to mention?
No, I think in the context of being prepared, considering what you will leave behind in terms of some sort of stable financial security. Is your income entirely dependent upon yourself? What will happen if you are, like I was, hit on a motorcycle, or if you get into a car accident, you're laid up due to illness? Where's the revenue going to come from? Is it sustainable? It's something that we don't tend to think of. We think that we'll live forever, and we'll just keep working until we don't. And it just takes a little life event like what happened to you and I to recognize how vulnerable we are. Most people, they say, are just a couple paychecks away from devastation. And I just encourage your listeners to really give that some serious thought. So.
Absolutely. What would have it looked like if you hadn't have come out of the hospital for, say, 6 months? who would have looked after your stuff, like your payments and
Mhm.
your, I mean, not even just focusing on your recovery and emotional stability, but just looking after your crap that you have. I mean, everybody has somewhere to live. And
Mhm.
when you come out of the hospital, you kind of want the lights to go on.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But I don't know how that would have worked out for you.
Mm. Not well. That's for sure. Yeah.
So it's for listeners, it's part of our blueprint that we are working on right now for people to become a member and to get your crap together and look at what bills that you have on a monthly basis, because we all have light and gas and telephone or internet and all of these things, and mortgage payments or rent payments. And if another person doesn't know what they are, it makes it difficult for you to be in a hospital for 3 or 4 months and
Mm.
expect that the electric company really cares
Mhm.
to not worry about your payment. I
Right.
don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
I think you're right there. Yeah.
But yes, so I really loved this interview with you, Martin. I appreciate your honesty and your courageousness and your, geez, I don't know how many words I could actually put into this. Your positivity. Of course, love does help turn those sad frowns upside down. I do know that does help.
Yeah.
But we do need to find love, whether it's through a person or through helping others to make us a better person. And I think that's sometimes what an accident does.
Mhm. For sure. Yeah. Certainly that's been my experience. So, yeah.
Whether it's educating yourself more and looking deeper into something, or, whatever that might be, but find that passion, find that everybody has something
Mhm.
that they're good at.
Right.
And it's just to find out what that is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
When you slow the universe down and put you into a hospital bed, you kind of have to turn the finger and look at yourself.
That's right. You're kind of confronted with that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
you like it or not.
Yeah. And, this is one of the reasons I'm grateful for a lot of the adversity that I faced, because it's forced me to confront things that I was either too busy to confront or too afraid to confront, because we all like the way that we live our lives. We live them that way for a reason, and they may not serve us particularly well, but they're comfortable and they're safe, and we feel in charge. And to make significant changes can be scary, and it can take something, a significant life event, to force you to confront that and make you make those changes. And that's pretty much what happened to me. And I can't say enough how grateful I am for that opportunity. So,
Me as well.
mhm. Yeah,
Even though I wouldn't wish it on anyone,
no, exactly. Yeah.
but it's definitely life changing,
Mhm.
especially when you can come out being able to still do something. Because I remember after my accident, I'm like checking my body and my
Right.
face and am I still in one piece? Is
Right.
it still okay?
Mhm.
Because everything hurts. So I don't know. You're not sure what's like, is something still hanging off your body? I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
But the thing about brain injuries is I found quite amazing is that nobody knows. Like, you don't feel the pain, you just feel the frustration and the
Mhm.
aggravation of not being able to do what you could do before. And I
Right.
found that really frustrating. And I found people, because they can't see blood dripping off your arm or your leg, or you don't have a cast on your leg or whatever anymore, but you still have this brain injury that you struggle with on a day to day basis. And I found that very difficult, because it's not something that, somebody's going to be extra special for you because they can see that you can't walk or that you can't do something because you look fine. So why can't you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I got used to looking foolish because I would meet with a client and start to engage in a conversation about, whatever we were talking about pertaining to their business. And I would completely lose my train of thought, and I would be literally slack-jawed, what were we just talking about? And that doesn't inspire confidence in a business owner who's looking to hire you. So, I got used to looking dumb. Over time, I've learned coping mechanisms. I certainly don't suffer from that as much as I did, but I've learned how to adapt and take advantage of tools to mitigate some of the side effects of that. So it's
Me as well.
right. Yeah, head injuries, brain injuries, mental illness. It's very difficult to deal with. People, I mean, we're talking about it more now, but people still are, somewhat clueless. So, yeah.
Yeah. Because they can't see it. It's not something they can see or touch.
Right.
So it's not like they can hold the door for you when you don't know who they are because you're on crutches. But if you go in, my difficulty, I don't know what you had, was depth perception. So I would trip over a step, or I couldn't figure out how far to walk because I couldn't see how far that went on a flat plane, with different floors or doors or anything like that. My head would do its own thing with what it saw and what it came to my head.
Right. Yeah.
So it affects you in a different way because you're not handicapped, you're not in a wheelchair, you're not in a walker, you're not,
Very true. Yeah.
so it's definitely different.
That's for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's, at least now I have an excuse though when my wife tells me I forgot to take out the garbage. So
Exactly.
does come in handy.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. It's my injury. Yeah.
Well, it's true. And forgetting happens to all of us, but after an accident, it really makes you wonder.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming out to our podcast this week. Martin, I'm sure everyone is going to have some inspiration for themselves.
Yeah, thanks so much for the invitation. It was a pleasure. And, I really hope that somebody finds something helpful in here. Yeah.
Even I always say, if it's one thing, if I can help one heart at a time to listen to this, maybe listen to it again, if there's something that, they're going through or they've gone through. And I really appreciate your time that you take out of your busy day. And everyone else out there, I hope that you found some inspiration and motivation in your own situation and can plan and create your own unique plan for yourself and your family, because it's more important. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. After having an accident like Martin has, he thanks every day that he has, because we do not know what tomorrow will bring.
Yep. Very true.
Yes. So thank you for coming out to our interview, Martin. I appreciate it, and I'm sure your team will appreciate all the wonderful things you said about them as well.
Well, thanks so much, Tina. It was a pleasure being here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's been awesome. Thank you. And for our listeners out there, our website is yourbackupPlan.ca. We have a app on Google Play and iTunes. And our weekly podcasts are on 8 different platforms. I always get stuck 8. It was 7. Our weekly podcasts are every Tuesdays. And you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, because family matters. And we matter. Right, Martin? We matter.
Awesome, Tina.
Thanks again. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I appreciate it.